Hi friends, Jessie here from JessieBanks.com and welcome back to another video. So today I am playing with the MFT Sketch Challenge and I'm kicking things off with the Catastrophe stamp set. I am also using Tickled Pink, Peach Bellini, Lemon Chiffon, Summer Splash, Limelight, and Wild Wisteria cardstock from My Favorite Things, and I am just cutting out a bunch of 1/4 inch strips out of each of them. I'm trying to play with things other than just painting and coloring and using some of the stuff that I have in my room. So that's kind of where we are, and I hope you guys don't mind that this card is definitely a little bit out of the norm for me. If you are interested in seeing the sketch that I used, the link to the MFT blog will be in the description box below. So once we get all of these cut out, a whole bunch of strips, you guys. This is time consuming. This was fun. I haven't done anything like this in a very long time. I had a blast. So I have a piece of cardstock here that's cut, I think it's cut to 2 3/4 by 7 3/4, if I remember correctly. But what I'm doing is just spacing it out into thirds so that I know where I want to die cut all of my little stars from to create the windows for the card. So once we get all of that mapped out here, it just takes me a couple seconds to find kind of roughly where the center of the star I want to be. I don't actually measure the star and make sure it's all perfect. I kind of eyeball it after this point, and then you'll see I muck it up and have to cut another one. That'll come later in the video. I digress. So now I got all of that marked out, and I pull out the Stitch Star Peekaboo window die, and we're going to run that through my die cut machine. I do use an AccuCut Grand Mark. I've had it forever. I did skip the inking of that because that's not the panel we use in the end. I thought it just didn't make me happy. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to lay out all of these little strips. I started doing them in rainbow order and then I mucked up the rainbow order at one point. So it's actually not rainbow order, but it's close enough. For my first time doing something like this, I was like, I'm not starting over. Most people will never notice unless I tell them, except for myself. So we're just going to leave it the way it is. So now I'm trimming this down so that it's slightly bigger than the cardstock that I glued it onto. And you'll see the little corners do fall off and I end up gluing new little pieces there just to make that work. A little bit of adhesive, and then I add just a tiny little piece and I'll cut it with my scissors to line it up. So I do that on both sides. And that's where I didn't like the look of that, and then I covered it in Salty Ocean Distress Oxides and I liked that even less. So I went back to white. So I was like, no, I like the white. So I cut it all out again, and then I had the white panel. So we're going to pop that up with foam tape on top of that little rainbow striped background I created. Give it a little bit of dimension. Then we're going to jump into some Copic Coloring. So I'm going to stamp out the little cats from the Catastrophe set using the MFT Extreme Black ink. And here I recorded the wrong part, but I cut out a little mask of that kitty, put it on top, and then I stamped the little Roomba underneath of it. I guess I was recording what I didn't want to record and wasn't recording what I wanted to. It was backwards, but that's okay. We're going to speed through the coloring. I did some very basic Copic Coloring. If you're interested in any of the colors, you can pause the video. They're always to the right of the screen. I start with my darkest color and I'm blending it out with the lighter colors as I go through whatever combination I'm using at the time. I am coloring on Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. It's 80 or 100 pound. I'm not sure. It was a scrap I had in the Nina bin, so I'm not 100% positive which weight it was. So we're just working on blending that out. Here I find that my E33 is dry, so I just jump to the E31 and blend it a little extra to make sure that that transition comes out smooth enough for me. Then we'll work on our second little kitty here, and I use some cool browns on him. I think he's so freaking cute. Again, darkest to lightest, just taking my time, making sure everything's smoothly blended. I wasn't after a fur texture or anything here. I just wanted nice blending. I found that E70 was too dark for what I wanted, so I pulled out the W00 just to use as my lightest color. I think it worked out wonderful. It made me happy. I think it blended great. Now I have a row of rainbow colors, and I'm going to color all of the yarn in different shades of pastels, kind of to mimic the background was what I was after. So I just add those colors in various locations and have it kind of transition through that one string that wraps all the way around the kitty. And you see that little piece that comes out from behind him. I did forget about it, but I catch it later and I fill it in before I put it on the card. So now we're going to give this little cat some little yellow, like a little yellow striped kitty. Starting with the darkest color, blending out with the lightest. I am going to finish it off with the colorless blender just to fade it kind of into white, as opposed to making the whole cat yellow. Pulling back out my pinks, coloring in his little nose and then filling in his ears. Onto some grays to color in the Roomba. I pulled out the neutral grays. I definitely wanted it to be a little different than what was on the other cats, so that's why I went with the neutral gray. Cut them out with my scissors. Now I pulled out the, what is it? Always Bring a Smile stamp set, just to stamp that sentiment here on some of that blue cardstock. That was a leftover strip from the background. And that'll be the basis of the card. So we're going to glue that down onto a 3.5 by 8.5 inch folding card base. Adhere that one. Pop our little kitties up on some foam tape and add our sentiment. And that's it for the card for this week's sketch challenge, guys. I hope you enjoy when I do these. I think I'm going to do them more. I've really always enjoyed playing with the MFT sketch challenges. They kind of stretch me outside of my norm, which is something I'm really enjoying so far this year. All the links to the products used will be in the description box down below. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. It does help me out a ton. So do thumbs up. Those are great. Thumbs down, do the same thing. So if that's what you want to do, whatever. And I will see you guys very soon in another video. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.